I was a server at a restaurant for about 5 years, and in that time there was always one person who was just flat out stinky. Like real bad. Like if you walked up to them, you would have to go, "Alright, what can I get you to order?" Because it was just that bad. I don't know if they couldn't clean underneath their rolls or whatever it was. Either way, they were gross. The way I felt serving this person is how I feel watching Farzar. But today, we're going to be taking a look at all of Farzar to understand...
No, Pastor. Methinks if you do this again, you'll get banned. Again. You don't want that to happen, Master. Wouldn't you rather smoke weed, fill your belly with diet soda, and play Burnout Revenge for the PS2? It just sounds like a better idea. I don't know if covering all of Farzar, which you know is ass, is worth it. But do whatever you want, I guess. I gotta go.
You know, you got a fair point, Mr. Succubus. You got a fair point. Why would I want to cover Farzar again? Well, I can't possibly say no to my anonymous donors who are like, "Oh yes, I have money. I want to watch someone on the internet suffer. I'm gonna pay him some money so that he'll watch all of the show so that I can watch him suffer." It's a really odd desire. I can't imagine paying somebody to watch all of a show, but who am I to say no when somebody's like, "Here, watch the show now, do it now." So yeah, today I'm going to be watching the rest of Farzar. If you want the first 2 episodes, my other video is already out, but I'm going to be watching 8 episodes of Farzar to truly see, getting the full picture, if this show is truly that god-awful. And if you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. I upload almost every single day, and you don't want to miss it. If you want a place where you could talk about your favorite games, movies, and shows, my Discord will be in the description, and if you want even more bonus content, my Patreon will also be down in the description. Now let's finally take a look at the full series, Farzar. Taking a look at episode 3 of Farzar, Saving the Reaper Demon, there are actually a lot more things that I did like compared to the other 2 episodes that I watched, but they still have this tendency to tell really lazy jokes, and usually a lot of people's responses to that, especially when somebody is critiquing something, "You try and write it better then." Well, no, because I'm not getting paid to do it, and I don't have experience in writing jokes, and I'm supposed to critique if I'm watching something, like I'm not going to enjoy every little bit and piece of it, but this episode did do a lot more things positive. It opens with one of those, like, very sad commercials, "In the arms of an angel." You know, like those sad animal commercials where there's just really sad things going on. It's just designed to make you feel like a piece of shit so that you'll donate. It's one of those, and we're just watching this little purple animal, and then all of a sudden it's not even about that purple animal, it's about a Reaper Demon, which is like this giant, like, alien type thing, and I'm saying alien like, you know, Ripley Scott type alien, like one of the a xenomorph. Yeah, it's like that. And it seems like it's going to be pretty dastardly. So we then cut to Feichel, who is our pretty much main character, and he's talking to his dad about Reaper demons and how they were like an alien that invaded and they were super evil. And I was immediately thinking, just based off the past 2 episodes, why would you trust the thing that comes out of your father's mouth in the first place? He lied to you about Bazarak's intentions, which is the villain of the show, and I just didn't really understand how that plot coincides with each other for him believing anything his father says. If I was his son, I would just, start slapping his balls around, like, like one of those things that goes like, they just start bouncing back and forth. Like, that would be that dude's testicles at this point. He would be agonizing in pain the entire time. I don't really see the point in that. But either way, we just get a bunch of, like, pointless jokes here that don't really add a lot. Again, this show is just very much in the zone of, I'm gonna just throw jokes at a dartboard and all of them are gonna miss the bullseye until one hits, and it's actually kind of funny. Like, he's just talking to his dad about the Reaper demons, and his dad's just all like, I would beat you, son, but I can't. And he calls over domestic abuse bot, which is a kind of funny dark joke, but again, it served no purpose in the episode because it just walks over and he's like, "This isn't my fault," tries to punch him, and then just collapses. And then the mom, Feichel's mother, who is the queen, she's just like, "Here's your allowance, boy." And he starts getting showered in gold coins, and he's like, "I love my mom's golden showers.
I love your golden showers."
Yeah, that's pretty much the entire joke, and that is the opening sequence. So far, I wasn't very thrilled, but they do step it up quite a decent amount when we get to Bazarak's story. For the majority of the time, it's not interesting until like the latter half of the episode. Initially, it's just Bazrak being really sad, so he decides to take this scorpion out on a joyride. And there's a lot of things that I can't show because they decided to have this mechanical scorpion be able to fire rockets out of its balls. I don't understand why it's able to do that. I'm not going to show you that, but that is something that is happening right now. He's just taking it on a joyride. He eventually crashes. And again, we get just another lazy joke that just felt repetitive to me, where he's like, "What are you gonna do, arrest me?" And he gets arrested, and then he's like, "What are you guys gonna do in jail? Shank me?" And he gets shanked. And then he's like, "Well, what are you guys gonna do? Make me a cake?" And they keep shanking him. And I just felt like I was wasting my time just a little bit. Didn't really care for that.
What are you gonna do? Bake me a cake and be my best friend?
So we then cut to everybody going to see Feikel's sanctuary for these Reaper aliens, the Reaper demons. Because he captured one and he's just putting it up on display. He loves it, he cherishes it, so they go there, and we get, again, another pointless joke that didn't really need to be there, to say the least. Like, I don't understand why they had to do this. Like, its ultimate importance in the episode is just so weird, where there's this character named Billy, and he's basically a combination of a bunch of different grotesque alien features. He's got a claw, he's got a weird asshole, he's got vaginas on his feet. Yeah, and that's the joke they decided to land on, because he's like, "Why do you think I like tap dancing around so much?" "Oh, it's because of my vajusi on my feet. Oh yes." Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why is that even a thing? And they keep leaning into that joke like way too much. Like, later on in the episode, one of the characters literally, because Billy is overreacting, he says, "Oh man, he must be on his foot period again." Really? Is that the best you could do? Like, guys, I got a brilliant idea, guys. Okay, so come here. So, what if this character, he has a vag on his foot, and then later on in the episode, we comment and say that because, he wouldn't get a normal period, because there's a lot of people that totally look at a woman who's on her period and says, "You must be on your uterus period, huh? You must be on that." Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, does it? Like, come here, guys, he's on his foot period. Man, they are rolling in the jokes tonight. Give this man a bonus, take his children away from him, send him off a cliff, and send him on a vacation to Bora Bora. This man's not worrying about a thing for the rest of his life for coming up with that kind of comedy. Like, I don't get it. So we got back to Bazrak, and that's where I think the episode does get a lot better. I've mainly been critiquing it so far, but it does get a lot better, where because he crashed and went to jail, he has to take a driver's test so that he could drive his Scorpion again, which is fun. I mean, I didn't really like the beginning of it, but it was kind of funny to where the driving instructors are like, "Okay, now put your hands on 10 and 2, and he looks over at his driving instructor and starts going, "Yeah, I see what you want." Like, what? Why would you start jorking his hog? He didn't need a good old-fashioned jork. That was just a little weird. So then he's driving his Scorpion tank around, and he gets to a four-way stop, and the driving instructor's like, "Okay, so who has the right-of-way at a four-way stop?" And he's like, "I don't know, the guy with the fucking Scorpion tank," and just murders everybody and just keeps on going.
Who has the right of way?
The guy with the fucking scorpion tank.
And I thought this was inherently funny because it made me think of one thing. Do you know the Killdozer, that guy who lives in Colorado or is in prison now or wherever the fuck he is? He made a Killdozer and he started attacking a bunch of government buildings with it. He literally built his own tank in a garage. That's how I imagined he felt when he first started driving this. Like, "Oi! Stop sign! Not for me! Killdozer drive right through!" Like, that's just what I imagine, and I just think that's inherently a lot of fun. I don't know if anybody died in that situation. If anybody died in that situation, then it's not a lot of fun, but I just think it's inherently funny because he probably thought that too when he saw a stop sign. "No more government!" Stuff like that. So we then cut back to the sanctuary, and a Reaper gets loose, and they all start running away, and I actually think we get another really funny gag here, where Renzo, he's really scared of the Reaper demons the entire time. He jumps into a claw machine, and the Reaper, who could clearly just bust through it, starts playing the claw machine and fails, and he's like, "Ah, you can't get me now!" And then you just see this robot dude named Scooty just hand him another coin, and he's like, "What the fuck? What are you doing?" I just thought that was kind of funny. That was pretty good, I can't even lie. And then we get a pretty fun Reaper montage where it's just them chasing them all, and it's actually just Scooty the robot's high dream where he was just tripping sack and the Reaper was chasing them on a roller coaster and stuff. Just fun stuff, like nothing really to complain about necessarily. And then we cut back to Bazarak, and he's still driving the Scorpion tank, and then all of a sudden his instructor's like, that guy, if you beat him in a race right there, I'll give you your license here. He's banging my wife. So, okay, cool. So, you know, they have the race, and Bazarak ends up winning, and then Bazarak's like, okay, a little bit of a reward, starts drinking again, and then he crashes and kills his instructor, and wears his face as a mask, and walks into the DMV, and he's like, so, hey guys, it's me, the instructor guy. I was thinking that you surpassed that guy out there. He did great. And they just look at him like, what? Like freaking out a little bit. I thought it was pretty dang funny. Like, I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. So they obviously don't give him it, and then he ends up getting a Scorpion bike instead. That's pretty much the end of his plot line. Don't really care for it. We end up going back to the Reaper Demon, and Feichel, the guy who loves him, he ends up getting it cornered. And I shit you not, I burst out laughing at the scene. This is probably the best thing out of Brickleberry, Paradise PD, and Farzar. All three of those shows have never got me to laugh as hard as this. Because Feichel has a gun to its head, about to just deal a finishing blow. It could have been done right there. And the Reaper opens its mouth, and it's just like, in the arms of an angel. In the arms of an angel. That's actually really funny. That was such a good joke. That was so good. And he spares him, and the Reaper Demon gets to go away. There was one scene that I couldn't show because I'm playing this video very safe, because my Paradise PD video did get taken down. I'm making sure that there's nothing that's even remotely vulgar. Is Billy, the character who's like really deformed that was created in a lab. There's one scene that was just disgusting where he spews, like, I don't even know, acidic juice out of his booty hole and all over the demon. That's what gives Feichel the opportunity to shoot it. And I'm just wondering, like, the overall importance of this, because it really didn't matter, because in this episode they create this whole narrative that Billy hates his creator, he hates himself, and then just they let him spew poop out of his butt. And then he loves himself and loves the man that created him. And that entire plotline just didn't need to exist even remotely, because it was only existent for 5 minutes, and it ultimately served no purpose, because you could have just had Billy go to the Sanctuary gift shop and then come out and be like, oh no, Feichel, no, and just go and spew his dirty booty water all over the creature again, and it ultimately would have, like, done the same thing. Like, it just returns it to the status quo. Like, why are we gonna add little bits of character development if it's ultimately gonna lead to nowhere? I don't get it. But either way, that's enough complaining about this episode. If I was to personally rate it 1 to 10, I would probably give this a solid like 6 or nope, solid 6. No, I'd give it a 7. Okay, the latter half of the episode was a lot of fun. Like after the 13-minute mark, those last 10 minutes, they were absolute heat. It's how I want this show to actually behave. Not taking itself very seriously, not trying the most stupid jokes you could ever imagine that are only built to make a 65-year-old who drinks a keg of beer every single day. Like, it just appeals to such a brain-rotted mind when you tell just such lackluster jokes, when I know, because I fucking laughed super hard at this episode, that they're capable of telling really good jokes. Like the first 13 minutes was just packed with jokes like, oh, my mother's golden shower, oh, my mom's panties, oh my god, I'm getting shanked, this is such a silly situation, and it's just not that funny. But when they actually started focusing on the physical comedy that wasn't just reliant on, oh, look, a penis, then it was actually pretty good. I enjoyed a lot of it. I thought it was fun. So solid 7 out of 10. Let's hope the rest of the series keeps this up. Taking a look at the next episode, which is St. Puduggers Day. Yeah, what a beautiful title. It makes me think that I'm saying some kind of slur for big people. I don't know, it just sounds a little bit wrong. Either way, don't like it. This episode sucks. It commits the biggest cardinal sin that any episode could commit of really anything, and that is being boring. There's being bad, but you could be so bad that it's actually kind of funny. Take Food Fight, for example, a video that I just made. That movie was atrocious, really bad, horrible writing, horrible animation, but it was so bad that it was funny. Here, it's just bad for the sake of being bad, and it makes me sad, so you know it's gonna be not rad. Yeah. So this episode starts off with the announcement that it's St. Puduggers Day, which is just Valentine's Day, and we cut to Renzo and the old queen, and the queen is talking about what she's gonna do to him tonight, and it's just a bunch of really weird things, like I'm gonna squash your nuts in a waffle iron, and then Feichel's eating waffles, so he throws them in the trash, and that's the joke, and you should have just stuck to the one joke. And then the Renzo's all like, oh, I want you to blow a stinky piece of poop right on here, like red hot chili all over my chest. And then Feichel's eating chili, so he also throws it in the trash.
That hot ass chili right on my chest.
They really like repeating the same joke in this show. Like, there was probably only one joke that I got just like a little smile at in this episode, and then they repeated it, and it was no longer funny because I was like, wow, you couldn't think of anything else, oh boy. So that's happening, and then Renzo says that he has to go after having this discussion about all the dirty things that he's going to do with his wife. He goes on this big exasperated journey where he eventually finds this creature. And the only thing that I could think when seeing this creature is, like, definitely somebody on the writer staff was gooning to that. Like, that's the only thing that I could possibly imagine, because you have this creature that has a really cool design, and then you're like, I'm gonna give it 3 ginormous, massive, voluptuous breasts for no reason. Like, is the comedy of that creature the fact that you gave it these big, bulging bazoongas? Because I don't understand the appeal, because looking at that, I'm like, why did you have to make the creature look like that, other than the fact that you might go home and just, yes! You know, like, it's just weird to me. So I'm not going to show you that creature for obvious reasons, but it's still a weird choice. Then he finds his sex bot, which was hiding in a cave, and it gets crushed by a chandelier. And I'm not going to talk about the chandelier anymore for this episode, because guess what? They do that same chandelier joke probably like 7 more times with just a random guy getting crushed by a chandelier, and I don't care about it. We then cut to Feichel, who wants to ask out Val, which is one of the conjoined twins. Specifically the nicer one. He wants to ask her out, and then he's about to drink mustard, and then the little pink thing that likes to cause chaos, he's just like, chaos! He's like, you're about to see some chaos, my friend. And Feichel is drinking mustard, and then it turns into must-turd, so he's just drinking poop. Yeah. It's very odd. I feel like the creators of these 3 shows have an obsession with, poop, killing animals, and just like gooning to the weirdest things. It's a little bit odd. I don't know how to feel about it. So either way, that happens, and somehow Feichel still gets a date with Val. We cut to them at the restaurant, and he's saying weird things like, I sometimes cut out the eyes of women in magazine, and then they just kiss, and apparently they like each other. Yeah, it's just so unbelievably weird. Nothing really to talk about when it comes to Renzo's plotline. He's looking for a different sex bot, and it doesn't even matter. I don't really care about any of it at all. He does this thing where we get to see a character from Paradise PD return. We get to see a mulgified, deformed creature get made when he's trying to create a new sex bot. It's just kind of whatever. I don't really care about it even remotely. It's just boring. We cut back to Feichel and Mal, who is the person attached to Val. She doesn't want Feichel to date them, so he decides that he's going to, make Feichel put a head on himself, so he gets his own conjoined head, and the entire, stick that this guy has is saying cucumber? Yeah, he's just like, cucumber! Yay? That's so funny. And then we get to this point where Val and Feichel and Mal and the cucumber guy, they all go out on a movie date, and they see an actual thing that looks like a cucumber. So the head says, cucumber! And he says, I'm a zucchini, you racist asshole! Hey, I'm a zucchini, you racist fuck! And that was the part of the episode where I was like, a little smile, a little bit of a dip in my happiness, but upwards, I guess, not a dip. A rise, and then we just continue with the same boring slop over and over again. Feikl gets a bunch of heads on his body because Mal keeps telling him to add heads, so he has a bunch of heads, and then the heads turn on him, and then we get a scene with Mal and Val beating all of the heads, and the cucumber guy, he says cucumber again, and then the queen, who is supposed to be doing the dirty with Renzo, she's doing the dirty with the zucchini, and the zucchini says the same thing, and at that point, my normal, at that kind of joke went to, 'cause fuck you. Because why do you feel the need to just not be creative and do the same thing over and over again? And it's just so awful. Like, I don't care, man. There's literally a scene in this episode where all of the heads that are on Feikl, they're all confiding in each other, wishing that they had their penises. And then that weird doctor who removed all their heads, it just shows that he collected them all and they're now just an amalgamation into one ball. I'm not going to show you it, but it's like 37 just slongs all hanging out there. And I don't want to see it. I don't care. It's not funny. Like, genuinely, if you're sitting down watching Farzar, you're just like, look at all those cocks. Like, really? Like, really? Is that what you find funny? Like, I know I'm gonna get the occasional Farzar defender in the comments where they're like, nah, twin. This shit was 5 for real, twin. Like, you didn't even get it, bruh. Like, you just wouldn't get it, you know, like 6, 7. Like, and then they'll just go on a tyrant and dislike the video because I have a differing opinion because the show is shit. But, you know, to each their own, I guess. So Feikl gets all his heads removed. There was an entire plot line that didn't even matter with Bazarak and Billy becoming friends, and then they put the pink thing in a kill cube and it didn't even matter because it was the chill cube. Not even worth talking about. What an unbelievably ass episode. Genuinely pointless. Just a waste of time, really. Man. You know, they love to raise my spirits with shows like this where they produce an actual decent episode. The last episode got a 7 out of 10. This is probably a 1 out of 10. It's just cardinal sin, being boring, doing nothing, just not even trying. It's just depressing. Taking a look at the next episode, sometimes I just genuinely can't fathom why this show was even brought into existence, especially with the opening of this episode. It really just baffles me that somebody would greenlight this, think that it's funny, think that the world deserves to see it, because it genuinely just feels like somebody was at their house one day, I be it the creator, and he was just like, oh no, bro, my R34 is just not high enough quality for me, bro. I need to pitch a show and get lots of people to animate things for me. Like, that's what it feels like in a really odd way. I just don't like it. The episode opens with a couple of aliens trying to cross the border, and there's like this extreme border control TV show, and the dad gets brutally murdered. That was kind of an interesting concept. I don't really care for it very much. We then cut to Renzo, and they're talking about why he has such a strict border control, and he's like, I don't like aliens. You know, I hate those aliens. They do nothing for me. I don't want them around me. I'm not about them. And then it just cuts to him just jorking his hog to the maximum capabilities, like hardcore jorking it. We get to see the full-on alien porn that he's watching, just full on. It's right there in high quality detail, and he's just cranking his hog for a bit long. Like, I watch these episodes at times 2 speed because I don't want to be watching this for 8 hours. And I had to play this back because I was like, there's no way that he's gooning for that long, right? He's straight up cranking his hog for like a solid 12 seconds. The show's intro plays, and then it cuts to him still cranking his hog nonstop. The chaos, like little alien dude, he comes over and he's like, hey, if you like watching the aliens that much, why don't you come with me, friend? I'll take you to see the real alien. And so they go over there, and then I get to basically watch Renzo get tentacled, if that's what you would call it. You know, when there's an alien with tentacles and it goes like this, you know, up inside of him, and then he gets knocked up by the alien, and that's the beginning of the episode. Whew. Yeah. It's a wild experience watching shows like this, shows that you never really anticipate you'd see. Shows that if, you know, this wasn't my career, then I probably would go my entire life without having to see. But hey, here we are. So Feikl, because Renzo is going to take care of his pregnancy, he's the reigning czar, and he decides that he's going to do something about immigration, which leads to Bazarak deciding that he's going to try and break into the city and pretending to be an immigrant, which leads to some just whatever. Renzo has to try to cross through his own border control on the border control TV show, which was cool, I guess. It was just a bunch of animated characters fighting. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing more, nothing less. Don't really care for it. Again, we're just getting back to that boring nonsense. We cut back to Feichel, and he's deciding who he wants to let into the city just by looking at them. And he picks the two guys that are basically the same from Paradise PD. I don't remember their god-awful names. They're basically just hicks. They're like, hey there, ma'am, mind if I look at the sun and see if I could keep staring at it to see if I can win that there, battle with the sun? Let me look at it. And then his eyes burst in high quality detail, which again is something that I didn't really care to see because I just fucking don't. I don't care. I can't wait to be done with Farzar because then I never have to watch anything from these creators again. Unless somebody pays me an extremely high amount for Brickleberry, and that is not like posing a situation. I just want to be done. I want to be done with this. So his eyes pop, and then they get selected to go into the city. Bazarak decides that his new name is Daddy-O Baggins the Immigrant, which is great and interesting. So they're showing this video, which of course I'm not going to show you, where Feichel is showing them an introductory video to get into the city, to get them hyped, to get them ready, to get them excited. And it's just a video that he took where he put googly eyes on his cock. And I'm just genuinely sitting there thinking, like, my mouth agape, like, what is the point? What are we doing here? What was the point of making this TV show? Like, are there genuine people that laugh at a video of a slightly overweight man just putting googly eyes on his penis like, hey there, little guy, how you doing? You having a little party down there? Like, I guarantee you there are people that laugh at that, but I'm not one of them. I can assure you that. So that happens, and then Daddy-O Baggins Bazarak, he goes to try a pumpkin spice latte. And it's not how I would have shown it, but I mean, it does correlate with a very real feeling, because pumpkin drinks, like that white girl drink with all that pumpkin goodness in it, it's fucking good. I won't lie, I won't hide behind masculinity. Yeah! It's fucking delicious. If you haven't had a pumpkin spice or like a pumpkin drink anywhere, man, you gotta try that shit. But Bazarak has one of those, and then it cuts to an animation of him just seeing a pumpkin and just giving like the nastiest rim job to that pumpkin that you could ever see. Of course, again, I'm not going to show you that, but hey, you can know that it's in existence. Good for you. Haha, yeah, you could watch a weird alien guy just get all up in that fucking ass. So that happens. And then we cut to those two aliens who are hicks, and they're sleeping in the same bed as Feichel, and they both start screaming. Because when they sleep, they scream, and then we get a bunch of nonsensical, useless jokes in which they're both screaming at nighttime, and then they wake up and they're like, oh, you might have scream apnea. Wow, what a hilarious, funny joke. So then everything else is just boring. Renzo ends up getting an abortion because he drinks a pumpkin spice latte, and that's pretty much the episode. Nothing really matters. Nothing at all. It's just all worthless junk. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it a solid 3 out of 10. It doesn't do anything abhorrent, so I'm not going to make it a 1 out of 10, but it is boring the majority of the time, and all the jokes don't land, and it's just a lot of, haha, he's watching porn, that's funny. Haha, look at his penis with googly eyes, that's funny. Haha. They made a sleep apnea joke. Ha! That's my real laugh at the show. Taking a look at the next episode, which is Flammily Reunion. Oh god, does the slop just continue? The slop never ends! This episode opens with Renzo training to meet his wife's family who is coming, and he's like jorking his nipples with some weights, and the second I saw that, I was like, no! They're gonna show an animation of his penis jorking with a weight. And yep, that's exactly what we got. I just foreshadowed that shit so hard where it's just his penis and it's just curling upwards with a weight, and I hate it so much. And then eventually we get to meet the queen's ex-fiance, who is being puppeteered by a guy, which was whatever. And then at the same time, Feichel is trying to finally take Val's virginity, and he just keeps on failing, and there's a bunch of really weird scenes where there's another man using up the sister of Val, except they're conjoined twins. It's all so weird. It's all just whatever. The only plotline that was even remotely interesting was the doctor guy who's really into his mother, like, oh, is that mother's panties? Oh, I must know if it's my mother's panties. Yeah, that weirdo. he goes on a date with this giant Galactus woman who's really big and eats planets. And I'm not going to show you a lot of those scenes because they're really weird, but there's one point in the episode where she's like using just her fingertips and like is jorking him. That was kind of funny objectively. Like that was just a little bit weird. So yeah, there's all that going on. And then she starts eating the planets and then he no longer wants to date her. And from that point on, the plot line got really boring. It's just a lot of, what? So that planet? Like, what? Like, why wouldn't you want me to eat that? Are you calling me fat? Are you calling me fat, dude? Yeah, it's a lot of that, and I just don't really care for it very much. And then Feichel finally finds a time and opens up the Val, and they're going to do the nasty, the dirty coitus. They're very excited about it. And then it all goes a little bit awry when Feichel bangs her after 9 o'clock, which technically means that he was using up the sister because they're like feelings in the vag switch. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. And at the same time, Bazarak has been doing this entire plotline with the Golden Girls, where the Golden Girls wanted to kill this guy named Harold. And then Bazarak leaves after he deems that he can't kill Harold, and then Harold kills all of the Golden Girls. And that's it. And then the doctor dude, he decides to shrink down the Galactus woman. And he's all like, I thought if I shrunk you down, then you wouldn't want to be with me. And she's all like, you thought right. And she leaves. And that's the end of that episode. Yeah, so that was kind of whatever. I didn't really care. I left out a lot of stuff because the majority of it was just boring. I left out scenes like Feichel potentially having to have sex with all of his cousins, and they're all shown in weird outfits. I left out a scene of this ginormous woman who's like 800 pounds using her breasts to squirt out milk. Yeah, did I leave out the important stuff? Did I really? Was it really that important? Did you miss it? Did you miss it? I bet you missed it. I didn't like it at all. Did not like it at all. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would give this one a 1 out of 10. This is just so abysmal. Just so many awful jokes that I don't get. Taking a look at the next episode, you want to really know my secret. You want to get down into the nitty and the gritty in this episode called Baz, Bangs, and Brains. I like ranting. I'm like the Hulk in the Adventures where he's like, oh no, bro, I'm always angry. And then he punches the fuck out of that giant alien thing. That's me. I like ranting about shows that are shit. I think it's fun. I like doing impressions. I like making people laugh. But this show is just committing the sin of being unbelievably boring. You want to know why? Well, editing, that for the past 2 probably episodes, like those 2 episodes like back there that you just watched me talk about, unless you skipped ahead, you want to know why I most likely put no clips from the show in there? It's just because they're not funny. I think it's more funny to sit here and listen to me talk than just deal with this jib-jab, this nonsense, this bullshit from this show. I think it's just awful. I really do. This episode opens with Renzo having a big fat announcement where he's all like, attention everybody, I got bangs, and they all love it. They start clapping and cheering, yippee, yippee, yay, yay, yippee, yippee, yay, except then he has a realization that people might be lying to him because it cuts back to a premonition of when his son was born, on this bright, spectacular day, and the doctor says that he's a beautiful boy and he looks ugly as shit, so Renzo has the realization that people are, in fact, capable of lying. Really? Oh my god! That's crazy. That's so crazy. And then it's election time for Bazarak, our good old-fashioned villain, and another guy shows up who is just better than him in every way, so he has to deal with that. And I shit you not, the best part of the entire episode is literally just this floating head. Okay? He's this floating head, he's a news reporter, he's been there since the end of time, and he's reporting on the election and how that's going. And there's just this one sequence where the woman news reporter, she's all like, oh yeah, well, at least I have legs. And I shit you not, this floating head goes, ah! You know, like that. And that was the best part of the episode.
Eternal. I am.
Maybe not, but at least I have legs.
When that's your best part of the episode, when that's the best thing that you could possibly do, am I having a good time? Do I look like I'm having a good time? Perhaps I'm just at my wit's end. Maybe it's more the fact that I got banned after watching 40 hours of Paradise PD, and barely anybody got to see that video, and now I have to cover more of this, and it makes me angry. You're watching a man at the brink of extinction, a man at the brink of going a little bit insane. So the episode continues, and Bazarek just keeps failing because he's doing things like being racist, like there's these skeleton people, and he does skull face, and he doesn't understand that, so he's losing the election even more. Renzo starts having negative thoughts about himself, so I didn't even mention, like, because he's worried people are having negative thoughts, he puts helmets on everybody. That tells you exactly what a person is really thinking about you, and he doesn't like that he has negative thoughts about himself, so he sends his son in to turn it off, and it override, it goes bad, and anybody who has a negative thought, their head gets exploded. And we get a bunch of scenes with just people's heads exploding. No point of showing you. It's just exactly what it sounds like, and it's not funny. It's not interesting. It's just a waste of your time. I promise you. And then we come back to the election, and there's this really weird thing with the floating head where he's talking like, all right, well, Bazarek is losing in the election, but we need to talk about something that was recently uncovered in a cave painting. And it shows the floating head, and he's like munching on some dino puss. Okay. I see we have some competence here. Because there was nothing more than what I wanted to see than a floating head just all over that dino puss in cave drawings. So the head exploding nonsense continues on for a while, and they eventually stop it. Because of course they do. Do you really care how it happens? They turn off the fucking machine. Yep. And then Bazarek barely wins the election results by pretending to be in one of his employees' skin's wife. Yeah, he wears his wife, fuck! He wears his wife's, I'm leaving this in the video. I don't even care. Fucking one take, gang. I don't care. He wears his wife, he wears his employee's wife's skin and pretends to be her. And it's like, he's a changed man, so he votes for her, and then Bazarek wins the election, whoop-a-dee-doo. And then turns out the wife is still alive, whoop-de-doo. That's the end of the episode. It's just such a complete and utter waste of time, and I can't express it enough. What are we doing here? What are we doing? I don't know, man. I don't know. If I was to rate it 1 to 10, I would give it a 1 out of 10. It's so painfully boring that they have an alien world and they can think of such unique concepts, and they just do things that I've seen a million different times in other shows, and other shows have done it way better. It just makes me upset. Taking a look at the episode, The Great and Powerful Osner, the creators of the show are hell-bent on genitalia, and having sex equals the funniest thing in the entire world. It's just so unbelievably hilarious that just the idea of showing it is just so funny. The episode opens, I'm gonna call this the Freakisode because it genuinely is just that. Like, I guarantee you all of the creators of the show are all in a room just having a goon sesh together, because dear lord, the episode begins with Renzo watching a chicken sandwich commercial, and he's just essentially talking to that chicken sandwich like, oh, I'm gonna get all up in there and get up all in those chicken flaps, you know, just getting really dirty with it. He does that for a very long time, and then he cuts to him deciding that he's gonna do a sex ban because God commands it. Okay, and everybody goes outside. They all just start humping the ground really aggressively. Are we laughing? No, not yet. Okay. We then cut to our B-plot of the episode, which involves Scooty the robot and the little chaos little pink demon guy. And the pink demon guy, he inhales some of that, oh, good shit. He gets a little bit high, and instead of showing like a mystical montage of his first experience doing psychedelic fun, they decide, oh, you know, let's just make this tiny little character eat himself out because that's what it feels like. Yeah, so I have to watch that tiny little thing eat itself out, and that is the entire end of his psychedelic experience, which was ultimately pointless. Like, I don't know why I'm wasting my time with this nonsense, because there's just over and over again that they're gonna keep on doing the same joke. Oh my god. Like, I have to read my notes here because it's just non-stop, where Scooty and the little chaos demon, they're fighting over the last little bit of the good stuff. It drops onto the ground, and then fucking Scooty, he shits himself, and like a bunch of cars come out, which I thought was interesting. And then the chaos demon, he makes like a not funny joke about diarrhea, and then it cuts to them being at an award show about diarrhea, and this father is staring at this woman, and he's all like, you'll never be a stand-up comedian, and then she just shits so violently that she skyrockets into the sky. And that's the entire joke. Like, genuinely, I'm not even... Oh, man. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. So we then cut to them being back at church. And because Feichel is not a believer in Osner, the all-powerful Osner god, Rezo, he freaking poops in his face, farts all over his face, and makes him eat that fart.
The shroud of Tootin. Eat God's farts.
And Feichel, he doesn't like that one bit, so he makes Osner come out for the very first time, and it just looks like a mop head, so he assumes it's his father, so he starts farting all over his father's face, just getting farting, and all that nonsense. And then it turns out that he actually is God, and he causes a bunch of plagues to be induced upon the world. And you'd think like, oh man, the episode's about to turn up, the episode's about to get crazy, we're about to be in for a wild, fun time, right? No. Because then I have to, then Scooty and the Chaos Demon, they're looking for a village of Smurfs that they could suck up and get really high, and they end up at like an IKEA, and there's the spiders having an argument that goes on for too long about their relationship. Like a solid minute, they're arguing about their relationship, and I'm like, who are these spiders? Why do I care? Why does it matter? Does it matter? No. Because then the female spider is all like, oh, I wish I was with my lawyer. And then it cuts to a actual human being having dirty, stinky sex with a spider. And I'm not going to show you that because why would I? Why would I show you that nonsense? It's not even important. And all the plague nonsense, the god nonsense, it's just a bunch of gags about like vaginas and boobs and everybody wants to do each other. And it's just so weird that they have this hyperfixation that let's not set up a joke. Let's just show a vag and it's going to be so funny. I don't understand this weird desire to constantly showcase it. They end up killing God and that is the end of that storyline. It doesn't matter anymore. And then we cut back to Scooty, and they just keep on making the spider sex joke. Like, Scooty's all like, oh, hold up, I gotta call my lawyer, and then we cut back to the spider, and the human being just going like, yeah, yes, you're Webussy. Like, really, bro? Really? And then the episode ends with Val and Mal also doing the nasty with a male spider. I don't get it. It actually baffles me. It baffles me so much because, like, I understand that they don't know how to write comedy. Like, clearly, like, there's no goal. But how can you find, like, bestiality with a spider that funny that you need to do the same gag 3 times? Like, I get that it's a Family Guy ripoff, but at least if this was Family Guy, I'd pray that they would only do this joke the one time and wouldn't do it 3 times, and the rest of my episode is just filled with, oh, let me eat myself out, oh, let me do dirty things to myself, oh my gosh. And obviously I can't show you any of this stuff because I'm playing it very safe, but genuinely, wow, Farzar episode A, the great and powerful Osner. Look at it. Watch that full episode and just, if you could have a good time, I just, wow. I can't ever see myself doing that. Like, genuinely, it's just so weird that people had to greenlight this. Like, I genuinely can't fathom anybody liking this except people who want to just, you know, crank their hog to it. So yeah, that's something that happened. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would give it a 1 out of 10. No good comedy, weird story, just so many different plot lines, and the plot line that was interesting with Scooty and the Chaos Demon going to that Smurf village, it ultimately was just squandered because they decided to do the spider thing over and over again instead of telling actual jokes. I just can't believe it. Taking a look at the episode Memory Wars, we're on episode 9 out of 10, so you'd think they'd start gearing up for a finale, and they do, all the way at the end of this episode, which is just a bunch of nonsense. There are some good things in this episode and some very bad things. The main, plot point of the episode is that Feichel finds out that all of his memories are actually fake. They've been implanted into his brain to give him the perfect childhood, so he now is upset with his father, hates his father, and wants to prove that perhaps his father loves him. And how do we get to this? Well, the beginning of it is Renzo and his wife writing a letter, and she like imagine this is my boo. Well, it is, and it extends out like a lengthy little snake and implants onto a letter, and that letter gets to Bazarak. Yep, that's our introduction to this episode, and then we get to the memory stuff. So at the same time that Feichel is trying to find out that if his dad truly loves him or cares about him, Bazarak is also trying to seduce the queen, viewing it as an opportunity because he gets this letter, so he wants to see the queen and potentially be with the queen. So that's cool. We also have another C-plot revolving around Scooty, the robot, who goes around looking at all of his parts, and he realizes that he wants to be a human again. So they have this entire experiment, and it goes wrong, and now there's a consciousness in Scooty and a consciousness in a real body Scooty, and neither of them are technically Scooty, but they're both Scooty at the same time, and so they have to compete pretty much for the entire episode. Again, just a plot line that could have worked if it was maybe all about that, but only getting like 3 minutes of screen time for that story just didn't really do it for me. It's just a lot of them arguing, a lot of them being like, I'm Scooty, I know I'm Scooty, and I just don't really care for it very much. We then cut back to Bazarak, who does eventually get the queen to come over, and we just get a bunch of cock-blocking scenes and scenes of him ripping his own teeth out, and yeah, that's great. So then Feichel decides, after he accidentally erases Renzo's mind, that he needs to go inside of Renzo's mind to figure out what his dad truly thought of him, and his dad is a stapler inside of his mind for some odd reason, and he finds out that his dad, the only reason he implemented those memories was so that, Feichel would have a good childhood because Renzo didn't know if he could be a good dad, so he's okay with it. And then we get a fight between Feichel and the stapler version of Renzo because he's like, fuck you, I want to be a stapler. Okay, cool. And then Scooty and Scooty are arguing and fighting, and they're like, wait a minute, if I'm Scooty and you're Scooty, where's the real Scooty? What's going on? And then it cuts to him being down in hell, which I thought was kind of funny.
So if neither of us is the real Scooty, where is the real Scooty?
That's like the only thing that's almost made me smile in the past like 4 episodes, so that was something to say the least. And then the queen and Bazarak are about to get down and jiggy with each other. They're very excited for it, but everything goes awry when the queen was actually planning to kill Bazarak just so that she could get in her husband's pants again, because without Bazarak, I guess Renzo would start doing the nasty with her again, and she goes to shoot Bazarak, but Clitoris, his right-hand man, yes, that is his name, jumps in front of the bullet, sacrificing himself, and Bazarak vows to kill everybody, which is, I assume, what is the finale is going to be about. Wow, did I have fun? Did I have fun with that episode? No, not really. It's just whatever. Like, the main jokes that they were kept trying to tell was the ad space jokes, where it would be a memory and all of a sudden it would be an ad about like a Lexus car because Renzo put ad space inside of Feichel's head. Does any of this make sense? I feel like I'm just talking about a lazy written fan fiction, but that's genuinely everything that happens in the episode. It's just bad. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give this a 3 out of 10. It is by no means as bad as that freaky shit that I watched a little bit ago, but it's still pretty dang awful. Finally, the finale of Farzar, War and Peace. Does the finale tie everything in a nice, neat bow and make me appreciate this series in a brand new way? No, not really. It's a bunch of, like, story finishers, I guess, for a bunch of characters that I never really cared about in the first place. The beginning of it is Bazarak preparing for war. He's getting ready for that and just talking to a bunch of kooky characters. Like, there's this one alien that is just lips, and his entire joke is, "What is the deal, man?" That's it. And then there's a banana, so he starts making a bunch of banana puns. Wow. Wow. So he just starts prepping for battle and all of that, and then they go to war, and they're having a warful time where they just keep battling. The main highlight of the episode is the banana people. They do not help in the war. They have this giant banana ship that I fucking love because they're just all dancing, having a wonderful banana time, and they're just like, daylight comes and we want to go home. Come, Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana. Yeah, I'm all for that. I love Deo. I think that's great. That was an episode highlight right there. That was fucking fantastic. Everything else is just kind of slop. They put a lot of emphasis on Mal and Val, the conjoined twins, in this episode, where they get hit really hard. And so Val, the one who isn't like a cybernetic warrior, takes full control of the body and starts killing people and awakens herself and starts wanting to just control everything. And she just goes like on a major massacre and all that stuff. And so, Then Bazarak, he gets invited to negotiate because they're winning the war, and because he's fucking brain dead, he's all like, oh yeah, you guys win and you guys get to keep all our natural resources and such. That's the entire joke. It's just whatever. And it turns out that Renzo is very, very evil. Then he has this giant robot that he's going to use to wipe out their entire population. So Feichel wants to stop this. He gets put in prison because Val betrays him because she's evil. And then Feichel manages to escape because of those hick aliens all mass reproducing to break out of the cage. They do that. Feichel gets in his own robot, fights Renzo's robot, and like, you would think it's real cinematic, but even like the animation isn't that good. Like, they've done way better stuff in this series, and even then, it's just a giant version of Renzo in the robot suit with a belt whipping Feichel. And I just don't really care for it. Like, it does not matter very much. They fire like this giant beam, this laser, and it ends up hitting Mal and Val, which splits them, and Val's like, I never want to see you again. Oh my gosh, the tension. I really hope we get a season 2. Oh boy, I hope we get a season 2, baby. Yeah, that'd be great. At the same time, the Chaos Demon, he is going to find inner peace, and he goes and finds inner peace, and they put a bomb in his penis, and we get one of the worst jokes that I've ever seen in the entire series, where they're talking about the bombs in the penis, which is supposed to keep you feeling that inner peace, I guess. And it shows this old man who just has like the size of a nuke inside of his throbbing schlong, and I'm not going to show you that, but it was very detailed. Somebody definitely was having a ball when they drew that. Yeah, I bet. And so the Chaos Demon, he eventually comes back, and he's all like, chaos, because they convince him, and they defeat Renzo. Renzo's entire dome around the city breaks. Renzo is just covered in blood, and then the entire series ends with Bazarak shooting Clitoris in the head because he scares him, because Clitoris faked his death that entire time and was perfectly fine. And that's the series for you. Finale, 1 to 10, fucking, I don't know. 2 out of 10. Crazy way to end a season. It was just nothing. Brickleberry, Paradise PD, and Farzar all just are the exact same thing, and that's my biggest problem with it. Brickleberry got canceled for a reason, Paradise PD got canceled for a reason, and here we have Farzar, and they're just still doing the same exact thing. Sex jokes are not inherently funny. Dick jokes are not inherently funny. Showing me boobs and penis isn't going to make me go, ha 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 ha. It's not gonna do that. You have to put effort into what you're trying to do. The one joke that I liked the most in this entire series out of all 3 shows was literally a joke about those commercials when the arms of an angel, because that was funny, that was well written, that was well timed, because who would expect that? And it relates to the beginning of the episode. That was beautiful, that was well told, and I love that joke. But half of their jokes in this show is just, wow, look, there's a really disgusting looking cock. Do you like that? Did you find that funny? Are you laughing yet? Are you having a good time? Because I'm not having a good time, and I am just so ready to be done with these shows for good, because yes, do people like watching me suffer? Of course. But I have seen everything that a show like this has to offer, everything that it has to gain, and everything that it has to lose, and there is just no saving grace when it comes to a show like this. If they ever got a 4th show and made it again, oh my god, I couldn't imagine. Like, I can't even fathom that they got this show. It's just so weird that people watched Brickleberry and Paradise PD, 2 shows that both got canceled before they were completely finished, and was like, yes, please make another show exactly the same. Like, it's just baffling. It's crazy to me. It's just such an unbelievable thing. But, yeah, that's my review on Farzar for you. All the episodes. Anonymous donor, I hope you liked this. I hope it was worth that money well spent. If you guys like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you would like to support me in other ways and get lots of bonus content, my Patreon will be in the description. I don't know when I'm going to start including like Patreon ads where I like showcase what I'm doing there, probably when I make more content, but I'm going to have me playing all of Hades 2 on there, playing all of the new Terraria update when that comes out, playing lots of different games. I'm going to have live reactions, stuff that I couldn't show on YouTube due to the copyright laws. For example, when a new episode of a show I like comes out, I'll have my live reaction with footage for you guys to see. Stuff like that could, you know, keep you interested. Just a little bonus content for people who want to support me a little bit more. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. See you guys in the next one. Bye.